I hope so.
No, he's really on fire.
At the box office this weekend, Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day scooped up $19.1 million. The family film which chronicles the worst day of an 11-year-old's life, had a not bad opening weekend, coming in third.
Sometimes the world doesn't need another hero. Sometimes what it needs is a monster.
Dracula Untold sinks its teeth into $23.5 million, flying into second spot.
You're probably the most hated man in America right now. Did you kill your wife, Nick?
But Gone Girl isn't going anywhere. The thriller starring Ben Affleck took top spot for a second week, bringing in $26.8 million. Now, Jason Gorber is a critic with TwitchFilm.com and joins us now. Jason, good to see you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Well, thank you. To you, too.
The T-shirt, it's an indication of how much turkey you had this week.
I'm already sleepy. It's ridiculous.
I was doing that 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so Dracula, teeth. Speaking of teeth.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of fangs for that introduction, Scott. Well, don't you know? So here's the deal. So you got Dracula Untold, and it's the untold story that's been told thousands of times.
Yeah.
Essentially, this is an origin story of an origin story. It's trying to do a slightly more realistic, and I underline that or italicize it or whatever, tale of the Dracula shtick. I'm telling Vlad the Impaler's story. And you know in 300 how all the bad guys are Persians? This time all the bad guys are Turkish, and they're attacking the Transylvanians and their good prince who had been kidnapped as a kid and had to fight in the battles comes, and he decides to basically make a deal with the devil, and then shockingly becomes a guy who turns into bats and then kills a whole bunch of people. As you're seeing on the box, this way, the thing looks kind of like a grandiose Game of Thrones episode, and not better than that. And in a weird way, that's what's happening is some TV shows are actually elevating sort of fantasy and horror to such an extent that even cinema is now borrowing from them for this sort of style.
Wow.
So it doesn't really work as a film, but what it really looks like is just an extended version of one of these TV series, but without the depth, because if you do like a 10-hour or 12-hour TV series, you can get into more interesting things, which is all those character moments, as just action moments are kind of back and forth. So it's really not that very good.
Kill the Messenger. What did you think about that?
Yeah, here's a film that I really wanted to love, and unfortunately it didn't. So Jeremy Renner tells a very interesting story about a reporter who reported on the suspected CIA's involvement in the crack epidemic in the 80s. And so 10 years after the fact, he uncovers for the San Jose newspaper this link between the American intelligence agencies and them using money to fund the Contras in Nicaragua. At the time, we're like, the CIA would never do this. Of course, with a lot of things in terms of the intelligence community in the States, we've heard a lot of stories that sort of verify this sort of thing. As a film, you wanted it to be something like All the President's Men. You wanted it to be like big, epic drama and historically interesting, but it falls really flat. It's a super interesting and important story, not particularly well told.
Okay, Thanksgiving weekend, so I have to ask you about your favorite Thanksgiving movie. How many turkeys would it get?
Well, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles seemed the most obvious one to go with, only because it's
Why is that? Why?
Because it's Canadian Thanksgiving, it's got John Candy in it.
Oh, there you go.
So for that reason alone, if you're going to watch a great Thanksgiving film, this is a perfectly great one. Look, when I do Thanksgiving, I have friends over and we watch a marathon of all kinds of weird movies. This is one if you just want like a straight-ahead family get-together and watch an incredibly warm and rich comedy that involves those not being pillows. Look, it's a great, really, really richly drawn film that if you haven't seen, you should, and if you haven't seen in a long time, you definitely should, because it's much better than you remember. It's actually a really fantastic film, super well put together.
And John Candy, you just can't get enough of him either.
You can't get enough. I mean, another one that I say, if you're going to watch this kind of turkey film, watch Eraserhead. It's not a Thanksgiving movie, but it involves a really weird poultry, so why not? Mix it up. Make your family a little bit freaked out by the movies you show them.
I think they're already freaked out.
Yeah,
Jason,
a little bit, probably.
Jason, thanks very much. Have a great weekend.
Take care, Scott.